Yeah, my first contact with luge was on Long Island, which is where I'm originally from.
Yep.
My father worked for Verizon, which was, at the time, the main sponsor of the sport. I'd say I had my first contact with it around 1996 when I was about 11 years old. Verizon had put up flyers and ads within the office space of their employees telling them about the luge slider search, which is now the White Castle slider search. So my dad asked me if I wanted to go and try out over the weekend, and for me it was more of a bonding experience with my dad. I didn't get to see him too often. He commuted a lot to work, and it was an opportunity for me to try another sport. So I went and tried it out, and I ended up being pretty good at it, and I found out you could go to the Olympics. Though I didn't make it the first time, I kept going back kind of until they took me, and here I am today.
At what point did you realize that, man, I'm really good at this. I could be one of the best athletes in the world, maybe possibly even in the Olympics?
You know, I would say when I was like 16 or 17 years old and I started getting pretty fast and successful at my sport in my own division, I was on the Junior World Cup Tour, which is what happens for all grassroots American sliders, as we call ourselves, is we go on a Junior World Cup Tour and you don't get to the senior level until you're 20 years old, or you're required to be at the senior level. At certain points, you can race up if you're good enough. But I started winning Junior World Cups in both singles and doubles, and, you know, I thought that at that point I had a real chance at making it to the Olympic team.
In 2010, you barely missed out on going to the Winter Olympics in Vancouver, and you're kind of at a crossroads, and that's when you decided to join the military. Can you kind of take me through that whole process?
Yeah, I missed out on the Winter Olympic team by about 7/100ths of a second in a last-second race-off before the Winter Olympic team for 2010 was selected. So that was a total heartbreaker for me. At that point in time, I had no idea that I wasn't going to be making the team, you know. At that point, I was like, I'm 100% going to be on the team. There's no other way this can go down. And then it just happened that I didn't make the team, and it was, you know, heartbreaking for me. And it brought me to a moment of self-realization. I really didn't have anything set up for my future. I didn't have really any money saved away. I hadn't gotten a college education. I was 24 years old. And if I left the sport at that point, the only thing I'd have to fall back to was my experience working with contractors, which is not the life that I wanted to live. I had heard about other athletes that were involved with this Army World Class Athlete program, so I asked them about it and what the steps I needed to take were to get involved with that program. So I found out about it and joined the military for 6 years. So it's always an 8-year contract with the military. I signed up for 6 active duty years so that I would also have included with my package the GI Bill, which would pay for school. So my intention was to use that GI Bill, go to the next 2 Olympics, and hopefully make 2 Olympic teams and have enough money to save buy a house and have a bachelor's degree in something. Fortunately for me, DeVry University signed on to be an official education sponsor of the USOC, and I'm happy to say I have achieved all those goals in my 10-year plan.
All right, you got a couple more days left wrapping up here. Are you kind of soaking it in, or are you just going to experience as much as you can in the next couple days here?
Yeah, you know, like I said, it is my second game, so I kind of have a good idea of how I want to execute my freedom, I guess you would say, and that's definitely by supporting Team USA and seeing as many events as I can and trying to meet as many of the other athletes as I can as well.
Do you keep in touch with any of the other Olympic athletes from other countries? Is it kind of like a networking thing as well with Olympic athletes there?
I wouldn't say it's networking. We keep in touch with our own. I definitely talk to some of the athletes from other countries within my sport, but I can't say that I talk to too many other foreign athletes from outside of the sport of luge. And I meant, when I was saying meet as many other athletes, I meant on Team USA, because we don't actually really get to see each other outside of the Olympics, some sports, because some sports tend to train together. In Lake Placid, the aerials, ski jumping, biathlon, luge, skeleton, bobsled, we all kind of train in the same area, so we see each other around and know each other. But other sports like snowboarding and the freestyle events and hockey and things like this, we don't really see those people ever. So it's really cool to get to meet those guys at the games.